another party strategizing on how best to convince the electorate that they are the party well positioned to lead the country is the Social Democratic Party.
If I let me put it straight, the day El-Rufai decides and is able to galvanize the opinion holders in the north to zero down on a P2B, for instance, as the candidate, that will be the end of the Tinubu administration.
All right.
There are amendments in the pipeline, but I don't see this president signing those amendments even if they are passed by the National Assembly, because he wants to exploit the loopholes that Professor Eleka highlighted in his address, that if they are blocked, we may see an improved electoral process. But if they succeed in manipulating, it's their fault.
There is this.
And the president is not fighting.
Okay.
I'm not fighting anybody.
Yes.
My fight is against bad governance, against hunger, against poverty, against out-of-school children, against people not having health services. This country have less than 10% insurance care, health insurance. Should be 100%.
Coalition of opposition political parties, we have reached out to our members in the National Assembly.
I'm in coalition against hunger, in coalition against poverty, in coalition against good health. Politics for me is not about position. It is about doing the right thing.
One is a former vice president with nearly 3 decades in the political game. The other is a former governor turned movement leader, backed by millions of frustrated Nigerian youths. Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, 2 men, one burning question: who will lead Nigerians' opposition into the 2027 election? It is a question dividing party lines, tearing alliance, and reshaping Nigerians' political future. The PDP is cracking, the Labour Party is rising, but also wobbling. And as Tinubu's presidency settles in, the race for the soul of the opposition is accelerating. This is not just politics. This is a showdown between the old guard and the new wave. A fight between structure and popularity. A battle of legacy versus momentum. Let us get into it, if you're ready. Once the pride of Nigerians' political opposition, the People's Democratic Party is now a house divided. The 2023 general election should have been PDP's to lose. Instead, it fractured under the weight of ego, zoning wars, and the infamous G5 rebellion led by former governor Nyesom Wike. Atiku Abubakar, contesting his 6th presidential election, became the face of an exhausted structure respected, but uprising to a rising generation demanding change. And then came Peter Obi's defection, a move many PDP insiders call the ultimate betrayal. A move that may have cost them Asarok. But it is not just about 2023. By 2025, the PDP was already shaking and its members were already looking for escape routes. Southern governors are shifting loyalties, internal lawsuits, suspended members, and silence from major chieftains have created a vacuum. And yet, in the middle of this storm, Atiku Abubakar remains standing, still traveling, still speaking, still positioning. But here is the twist. Is Atiku still the leader of Nigerians' opposition or just the relic of it? In contrast, Peter Obi is not waiting for party consensus. He's building a movement, one tweet, one speech, one viral quote at a time. Since his exit from the PDP and the rise of the Obidient movement, P has transformed into Nigerians' most potent moral voice. He speaks about accountability. He tours universities. He attends diaspora forums. He trends almost daily on social media. In 2023, his Labour Party shook the establishment by winning in Lagos, the FCT, and strongholds once thought untouchable. Obi didn't just campaign, he disrupted. But disruption has its own challenges. As of 2025, critics argue that Obi talks more than he organizes, that he is better at mobilizing hashtags than building coalitions, that he avoids the real political heat. But for many Nigerians, especially young voters, he is the only one still speaking their truth. And in politics, perception can be powerful.
Let nobody scare you. If anybody tell you that you are from this place, if you vote this, something will happen. Telling that Peter Obi said, nobody's the owner of Nigeria. We all own this country. If they want it to be, we will be there. Let nobody scare you. Stay where you are and vote. I'm a trader like you. I'll defend you. All this suffering we are suffering today, traders will be great again. Trading will be a good business again. Alaba will be great again. We will celebrate people in Alaba. That's what it should be.
But even Peter Obi has a storm to weather. Behind his clean image, the Labour Party is in turmoil. Factions divided by NLC have taken Julius Abure's leadership to court. Allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and poor internal democracy are flying within the Labour Party.
It is, however, regrettable that certain actors, most notably Senator Nanadi Usman, who ironically is not a member of our party, and Delitu Nwo Kocha, have chosen to misrepresent the ruling, deliberately misleading the public and attempting to manufacture confusion through a purported caretaker committee. Let it be stated categorically that the so-called committee is both unconstitutional and illegitimate. Let it be known within the Federation and beyond that there is no vacuum in the leadership of Labour Party.
And through it all, Obi has remained calm. Supporters say it is strategic, that he is staying above the fray. Critics say it is cowardice, a refusal to lead his own house. One thing is certain. If Labour Party hopes to challenge APC in 2027, it must evolve from a Twitter army to a nationwide machine. And fast, because in politics, silence is never neutral. Atiku Abubakar, over 30 years in public life, massive political structure, deep northern connections, experience in political negotiation, but he lacks youth enthusiasm. Atiku is also seen as repetitive, tagged with baggage from past administrations.
We may see an improved electoral process. But if they succeed in manipulating, it's their fault. Because we can stand up to them with people like you at the polling booths and at the collation centers. If they succeed, then you must have compromised.
For Peter Obi, fresh voice in a tired system, huge digital and diaspora support, clean governance record in Anambra State, focused messaging on corruption and accountability. But Peter Obi has weak structure, party instability, accused of idealism without realism.
And I'm somebody who can say this exemplarily. I became a governor through the court when President Obasanjo and Atiku were in government. I did not pay the court 1 naira. I was sitting in my house in the office, and the court declared me winner. When a governor is so serious, it can't happen in Nigeria today. When I was being impeached, the president sent people to come and intervene on my behalf. Ken Namani came begging house people not to impeach me. Today, the president impeaches the person. So that is the thing that collapse. They were begging my house not to impeach me. And they were PDP. I was in Africa. And they were begging. President was calling me and said, Peter, are you okay? Even when I was impeached, President Obasanjo called me and said, are you okay? Are you safe? When I go back from the court, when court eventually declared me under Anjuba, President Yaradua called my phone in London and say, congrats. I said, President, I can't come back because, you know, if I come back, these people, he said, tell me the flight in which you're coming back. And I told him, when I came in the first time, military people came to receive me at the airport. I couldn't believe it. I took me straight to him. Now the president will ask me not to come back here again. So insane. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about how we are going to rebuild it. It's collapsing.
So who wins? It depends on what Nigerians want in 2027. Is he a political veteran with deep ties? Or a moral reformer with rising fire? The clock is ticking. Both men claim to fight for democracy. But make no mistake, only one can truly lead the opposition. In early 2025, PDP chieftains floated a unified opposition alliance to challenge APC in the next elections. Whispers of collaboration, talks of mergers, even suggestions of an Obi-Atiku ticket, but behind closed doors, distrust runs deep.
The Senate caucus of the PDP states that it is not averse to the idea and ideals of coalition. The caucus observes the synthesization of ideas and creating of harmony of coalition should be driven by political parties and not individuals. And as the biggest of all the opposition parties, the PDP's umbrella is big enough to accommodate all persons desirous of coalition. The People's Democratic Party, therefore, should drive the coalition when and if it becomes necessary. Finally, the Senate caucus of the PDP states emphatically that the party is a big brand that is competitive. In all nooks and crannies of Nigeria, there are PDP members.
Atiku allies blame Obi for 2027. Obi loyalists sees Atiku as outdated. And the APC, they are watching, smiling, because a divided opposition is a guaranteed victory. So the question is no longer just who is more popular. It is who can unite what's left of Nigerians' fragmented opposition. And right now, the answer is unclear. In 2023, Nigeria saw its highest ever youth political participation. The surge was tied directly to Peter Obi and the Obidient movement. Young Nigerians campaigned, donated, voted, and felt robbed. Now in 2025, many of them are disillusioned. Some have returned to apathy. Others are waiting for 2027 with quiet rage. Here's the truth. Atiku cannot win the youth vote. His appeal is institutional, not inspirational. Peter Obi, on the other hand, still commands that digital army. But can he mobilize them again? Can he transform protest votes into political power? Can he organize offline as effectively as he trends online? But elections are not won on Twitter. They are won in polling units. Another storm is brewing, and it could shape 2027 dramatically. Southern PDP governors, especially from Rivers, Delta, Enugu, are slowly tilting towards Tinubu's government. Some, like Nyesom Wike, have openly joined the APC-led initiatives. Others remained in PDP, but are silent critics of both Atiku and Obi. This creates a dangerous vacuum in southern opposition politics. Will Obi fill it? That's another question. Can he build a southern bloc strong enough to challenge APC's northern advantage? Or will regional loyalties and political ambitions keep the south divided and therefore conquered?
If you look at the way our constitution, which is the grand norm, is structured, and the electoral law itself, you will discover that opposition party in Nigeria, it's a very, very difficult, effort by anybody who wants to really manage a political party or contest elections against somebody who, like I said, has captured the state. Why do I say the state capture? When you look at the institutions, that will declare you, even if you have won, assuming the people have given you their votes is not enough. It doesn't stop there. you have agencies of the government that will now say, yes, you are the one that has been elected. So in an event where you have all these agencies, not a single one, is outside the control of your opponent.
Well, we have independent National Electoral Commission, for example,
so to speak,
independent, and then the judicial arm of government, Supreme
exactly,
Court,
so to
independent.
Speak. But who appoints them? That's the question. Who can remove them if he wants to? Can initiate the removal of such people? He can reward, he can punish. And if I can reward and punish, then I dictate the tone. You may call them anything, that you want to call them. But the reality of the fact is that all these institutions are in the hands of Bola Tinubu. And he decides how they operate. That is the reality. And we have seen it played out, in the past, under Buhari administration, under President Obasanjo administration, under, all the administrations before Bola Tinubu. So the issue is that the way we have structured the political space by way of the laws, the institutions, they are not in any way, in favor of an opposition political party.
For the opposition to survive, it must build bridges fast. As 2027 draw closer, talks of a grand opposition coalition to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have started making rounds in political circles. The idea, a unified front of the PDP, Labour Party and other smaller parties rallying behind a single candidate, whispers of Peter Obi running to the PDP or running as a vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar became louder by the day. But Obi responded, and his words were crystal clear. During a visit to the Anglican Diocese of Kubwa in Abuja, Obi told reporters, "The only coalition I'm interested in is the one against hunger, poverty, and the collapse of education and healthcare." He went further to dismiss the suggestion that he has struck a deal to deputize anyone. He said, "Those saying I agreed to run as vice president are playing politics of selfish ambition. I am not desperate for any position."
I'm in coalition against hunger, in coalition against poverty, in coalition against good health. Politics for me is not about position. It is about doing the right thing.
But is that a report true, sir?
Whatever you make of it, I can tell you, I, Peter, have told you where I stand. I just came back this morning. I didn't go talk about politics. I'm talking about the education of these children. You don't deal with politicians. I don't fight. I'm not talking about position. In this country, we talk about politics and abandon what we should be talking about. What we should be talking about is how are we going to educate these children. I'm not fighting anybody. Yes. My fight is against bad governance, against hunger, against poverty, against out-of-school children, against people not having health services. This country have less than 10% insurance care, health insurance. Should be 100%. These teachers teaching here should be paid by government because it's universal basic education. The law says here that our children should go to school free. So what my Lord is doing is helping government. Government should help him. That's what I did in Anambra State.
To many Nigerians, that was vintage Obi blunt, focused, and above the typical political chess game. But to political insiders, it raised questions. Is Obi refusing to build bridges that could help him win? Or is he setting a higher standard, one that says Nigeria must come before politics? Either way, one thing was clear. Obi wasn't backing down, and he wasn't playing by the old rules. We are still 2 years away from the general election, but the battle lines are already drawn. Atiku Abubakar, experienced, connected, persistent. Peter Obi, principled, popular, and disruptive. Two men, one opposition, but only one can lead it. Will Atiku step aside and play elder statesman? Will Obi find the courage to take control of his party? Or will both men go their separate ways and hand Tinubu an easy second term? Because in Nigerian politics, divided houses don't win elections. The people are watching, the system is calculating, and history once again is knocking. So we ask, what do you think? Is Atiku still the face of Nigerians' opposition, or he is past his prime? Can Obi turn moral outrage into political power, or will internal chaos bury the Labour Party? And most importantly, can these two men work together, or are they destined to destroy each other? Let us know in the comment below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because 2027 is not just another election, it is the battle for Nigerians' future, and the race has already begun.